evening, afternoon, whatever we want to say. Definitely appreciate y'all for having me today. I am going to come and learn as much as I can about all of you, give you guys some insight, also give you just a backstory on me, where I'm at, what I've done, and the different things that you could possibly be doing as a barber or in this industry that maybe nobody told you, you didn't know was an option, different things that'll just kind of take you to that next level and give you an opportunity to really, really take full advantage of being a barber or a groomer. And like I said, there was a lot of stuff that nobody ever told me that I want to share with y'all. So first, I just want to get a quick intro. Y'all tell me your names and how long you've been barbering and something that is interesting about yourself. How about that too? You can start.
My name is Rosie. I've been in the barbering class for actually the third semester.
You had no prior barbering experience before this?
Yeah, but I learned when I was younger.
That matters. That
13,
counts.
but
Yeah, that counts.
now I'm going for my license.
Okay. Were you cutting too before?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that definitely matters. So you've been cutting since you were a kid, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's something interesting about you?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
You look very interesting.
Hard to be. I don't know. Sorry when you talk about yourself.
It's not. You got kids?
No, I don't.
That's interesting.
It
You
is.
got any kids?
Were you born in the States?
No.
Okay, that's
Where you
interesting
from?
as well.
Huh?
Where were you born?
Central America, Nicaragua.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting. I'm interested now. All right, who we got next?
My name is Mary,
Okay, Mary.
and for this program, I have never cut hair,
Okay.
and so I'm just wondering and to get my license. And something interesting about me, I don't have any kids.
Okay.
I have 3.
Okay. I'm interested. What made you get into barbering? Like, what made?
Like, my mom's friend is a barber.
Okay.
She started as a cosmetologist and she switched over to barbering, and she said that she thought I would like it and that I could make a lot of money. And so I said, why not?
That's what's up. All right, I like it. What we got over here?
Hey, my name is Jackie, and I have no experience. I just
Okay.
started school just to start it.
Okay.
I was actually going for criminal justice,
Okay.
and I went halfway on that, but then I figured out that wasn't for me.
It wasn't for you. So what do you like about barbering that you think makes this for you?
Honestly, everything.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's dope. And what's interesting about you?
Um,
One thing. I know it's a lot of things, but just one thing.
I don't know, honestly.
You got something. You gotta have something.
Uh,
You got a lot of siblings. Do you ride a bike to school? Have you never rode in an airplane? Something. It's got to be something that's interesting about you.
well, I went to Miami like twice already.
There you go. That's interesting. Some people have never been. I love it.
Yeah.
That's what's up. All right, what you got?
My name is Marlon.
Okay, Marlon.
I have very little prior career experience. I was messing people's head up on base in the military.
Okay.
The thing that made me want to start barbering, I used to go to a barber college to get my hair cut. And that was like $5 back in the day.
Mhm.
Now you go to the barber college, they want like 25, 30.
Yeah. Okay. What's interesting about you?
Interesting about me. I'm like 100 times better with the flippers now.
That's what's up. Who helped you get there?
Miss Hunter.
Who did?
Miss Hunter.
Oh, okay. I don't know who that is.
When he got
Okay.
when he got to the point where the regular teaching us how to cut hair.
Okay. That's what's up. All right. Well, I appreciate y'all for opening up a little bit, just a little icebreaker. Because I just want to know who I'm working with, where y'all are career-wise, what you want to do, your backgrounds. But I guess I'll give you guys a little bit about who I am and what I do. So my name is Israel Wright. I am a men's grooming specialist. I'm an author. I do speaking. I do products. I have multiple businesses across different industries, but it's really focused all on men's grooming and being able to cater to the needs, the solutions, and the issues that a lot of men, especially black and brown men, deal with. So I don't know if y'all have checked out any of my social media, but you can. This is my Instagram. So whenever you get a chance, just check out my page. I do a lot of different types of content. I post about what I do, how I do it. I offer a treatment, which is called the AKN bump relief treatment. So if you've seen like the bumps on the back of people's necks, I specialize in that. That's something that I've taken a lot of time, energy, effort, done training, learned a lot about, and I'm able to help people from all over the world at this point with this specific issue. I started out as a barber, same thing with the barber school. I used to cut hair as a kid a little bit, same thing as you saying, you were cutting or you just to mess people's heads up, did the same exact thing. But over time, it just kind of became a passion of mine. And I used to play basketball, so that was my main focus. I thought I was going to the NBA, and I realized I did not have a chance. And I was not strong enough, fast enough. I wasn't good enough, but it was just something that I was interested in. I thought basketball was going to be my thing, like a lot of kids do. But I didn't realize I had grown up around hair, nails from my family. My mom was a nail tech. My cousin was a nail tech. My aunt owned schools, shops, salons, everything while I was growing up. But when you're that young, you don't really know. You just, okay, this is my mom's job, or this is where my aunt, created a school. And as I got older, I started realizing, like, man, I've been around this for so long, it's almost embedded in me. It's something that's like a part of who I am, but I wasn't really giving it enough attention. So I ended up going to Pro Way Hair School, that is off Memorial Drive. I went there in 2012. I was living in Illinois, from Illinois to Atlanta to come to barber school in 2012, and obviously everything was different. It was a different Atlanta. It was a different industry. There was no social media, like a little bit. Facebook and MySpace was still kind of a thing. What else was going on during that time? Instagram literally just came on the scene. So people were just starting to post pictures of their haircuts. Hair fibers, I don't know if you guys are using hair fibers. Those just came on the scene too. So it was like the industry was kind of taking a different swing. I caught it at a good time. I made a lot of great relationships, a lot of great friends, a lot of great people that I was introduced to. And it allowed me to just really, really go to that next level in my career by making those connections. I got outside of my own self. I got outside of my comfort zone. I went to a lot of shows, expos, classes, courses, anything that I could do to be around barbering, I did it. And I would definitely encourage you guys to do the same thing. Like, I know, one thing that a lot of people do is, they're in school and they're like, okay, cool. Just like you said, I got homework. I got to do this. I got to do that. I would do all that and I would still do more because I knew that that's what it was going to take for me to really separate myself. And for me to be standing up here today is really, the fruits of me doing all that stuff back then when I was in school, and people were like, bro, why are you going to all these classes? What are you doing going to all these shows? Why are you traveling and going to a different state to go see other barbers? What is the point of it? And I used to always catch flack. People always used to talk about me, man, you wasted all your money going to all these trips and you got clients, you need to be here. You just need to be here catering to your clients. That's all you need to do. But I'm like, I'm actually providing more value to my clients because I'm learning more outside of my shop. There's only sometimes so much you can learn around with the people that are around you. You got to get outside of your comfort zone. You got to go meet other individuals. You got to go see things that are going on in different parts of the country, the world, because that exposure can definitely open up your mind to see what's possible. And once I started doing that, I really just started kind of growing and elevating. So I've done movies. I've worked on TV shows. I've cut celebrities. I've worked on I don't know if you guys know of Atlanta, the TV show Atlanta. Yeah, I was the lead barber for that in season 2. I worked on Barbershop 3. I was in Barbershop 2. What else have I done? I've worked on a couple other small films. Like I said, I've had celebrity clientele. I've done a lot of stuff that people are like, oh, when I do that, like, that's it. But I realize it's really about what you make it. Those are opportunities, to say the least, but there's so much more in this industry that you can do. Like I said, me coming up with a product line. Black Excellence Cosmetics, we got beard washes, beard conditioner, and beard oil called Beard Goals. Amazing product. Even if it wasn't mine, I would still want to use it. I was able to write a book. I'm an author, so I wrote my own book. Came up with other products that help with like the bumps. But this all started from me just being a barber. And I did not accept, oh, okay, you just cut hair as like I'm a max out at that. I looked at the relationships I had built behind the chair. I looked at the resources that I had around me. I looked at the people that were willing to invest into what I was doing. And I utilized that. I didn't downplay it. I didn't act like, oh, you know, it's cool that people believe in what I'm doing. I actually made that, a thing. I made that real for myself and started putting some action behind my ideas. So I would definitely encourage you guys to not get comfortable as a barber or just cutting hair because you're making money. That'll happen often. It happened to me. I started making good money. I got all these clients. I got people booked from Monday to Monday. I was making so much money at one time, like I didn't even have time to spend it. That's how much money I was making as a barber, just cutting hair. 10, 20, 15 people a day, paying $40, $50. So at that time, I might be 22, 23 years old, first, maybe second year in the industry. And it seemed like this is what I'm just about to do. Like I'm just about to cut hair. That's it. Because why would I want to do anything else? Until I started seeing like, oh, there are people that are making a lot more money that aren't cutting way less hair, and they're able to have more autonomy of their schedule. So what I've learned is over time, sometimes it's really that quality over quantity. You might get to a point where you're really good and your demand is super high, but at the same time, you have too many clients. So like prime example, my price point now starts at $160. And a lot of people are like, $160? Like, how does it even get there? But over time, I've added things. I've taken stuff out. I've really created my own system to where it makes sense for the type of clientele that I have and value my services. So I offer I offer facials, I offer ingrown hair removal, I offer scalp treatments, stuff like that that's different than just the average barber. So when you talk about price points, it's like, okay, well, this makes sense because he's not just cutting hair, he's giving solutions for a problem. And that's what's allowed me to separate myself from the average barber. So is anybody in here interested in doing anything other than just cutting? I know you was telling me about color services that you guys might have already gone over. Is there any other services you might be offering? I saw a steamer over here. It looks like a little facial setup. Anything y'all are offering now or something that you're interested in offering?
I'm interested in offering ingrown hair removal.
Game changer.
Right now, I'm thinking about facial.
Nice. Anything that you, everything?
I like hair,
Skin,
color,
everything.
cutting, I like everything. Except manicure or pedicure.
Okay, cool. Everything, same. So it's obviously good to like everything, and I think it's important to start doing everything while you're in school. Try everything. Don't just limit yourself to, oh, I'm just gonna cut, I want to be the best barber. People get confused about this industry and forget that it's a business. It's still a business. So instead of you focusing on just being the best hair cutter, how can I make my business the best based off of what I'm good at and what people actually want to pay me for? Because sometimes you'll have all these services under your belt, but you only utilize one or you only utilize two. And it's like, well, what was the point of me learning all that stuff? It's great to know I have it in my back pocket. But when you become a specialist, when you become somebody that is actually like an expert in a certain area, you get paid top dollar. So when I say I start at 160, I start at 160. That's not including the other services that I offer that are higher price points. But I understood that I needed to niche down and really focus on either one specific thing or a specific genre. So like when I came in here and introduced myself, I didn't say, oh, I'm just a master barber and there's nothing wrong with that. I said men's grooming specialist. So that's gonna always open up the door for a different type of conversation when I'm approaching clients. If I walk up to a client and I say, okay, or a potential customer, hey, you know, my name is Israel Wright. I'm a barber. In your mind, just think as a client or customer, how much do you think I charge? If I'm just saying, hey, I'm a barber, what's the average price point that you think? 40? 40, 50? About $50, $60, right. But when I say I'm a men's grooming specialist, what is the next thing you're thinking? Like when that comes to mind, what's the next question you're gonna ask? There you go. So it's a whole different conversation when you get to the other side of barbering or just cutting hair. You start seeing like, dang, okay, well, I'm now getting questions about things besides haircuts that are valuable to my clients as well. And they're not putting me in that box of, okay, a barber's only supposed to make $40 and $50. I'm sure you guys have, you know, go ahead.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
So you said that you were working Monday through Monday.
Yes.
When did the crossover to do something else? And how do you start it?
So when I went and got some training, so I went and got a certification in the service I was talking about, the bump relief treatment, but I also learned about facials, more in-depth facials than I learned in school. And I learned, I want to say one more service, maybe ingrown hair removal. But it got to the point where I was like, this cannot be it. I was working myself to death. I was literally there from 9 to 9, 7 days a week. So when I would get off, I would go rush, get food, maybe go out, you know, stay out all night, spend a lot of money because I'm like, tomorrow I'm gonna make it back, so it really doesn't matter. And that's just kind of you get into a barber culture or a barber mindset that's like, okay, it's cool. I'm booked tomorrow. It doesn't matter. If I spend this money, I'm going to make it back. If I'm out till this time or whatever, I can do these haircuts in my sleep. I know how to cut. It doesn't even matter. I could be hungover. I could be tired. I can be, you know, famished. I could be, you know, running off 1 hour of sleep. I'm going to still do a good job. But then you start looking again at the quality. And you're like, okay, if my client is valuing me, I have to start valuing my client more. Or the person that's sitting in my chair, I can't just give them a half-ass, you know, experience because I can do this really well. It's also like I have to take them into consideration. They're coming to me for more than just a haircut. So a lot of the people that are sitting in your chair, they want to have a conversation. They want to get feedback. They want to get, you know, different, you know, advice on certain things or certain areas. And for me, I started becoming more of a dot connector. So I started looking at the people that were sitting in my chair. I'm like, okay, well, this person is, you know, a business owner. This person has an idea, or they might be in college and they might have some good aspirations. So maybe I should start, you know, connecting them. Maybe I should say, hey, Mike, do you know James? Oh, no, I don't know him. Oh, man, okay, well, this is what he has going on, and this is what they're doing. The next thing you know, I'm helping people create businesses. I'm helping people become mentors to other people. They're doing different ventures together, starting nonprofits. Like I was a part of so many different things because I started valuing my clients more. So that to me is when it happened, when I started seeing my client is more than just a haircut. Like my client is the actual person that's valuable. And when I started also utilizing them as a resource, my whole business changed. And that's actually where I got the book from, the idea of having the book, because I started having conversations with my clients behind the chair. So while I'm cutting their hair, I'm being so intentional about what I'm asking them, what we're talking about, the different questions that I'm, you know, coming up with, so I can get certain answers. Because it was easy to talk about, you know, basketball and football and the person that just walked past and, you know, the girl that's down the street. I could have done that, but I was looking at it like, man, this person is successful, or they're on their way to success, or they have some type of knowledge. So why wouldn't I start talking to them about something that's more valuable or more like impactful than just the basic entry level stuff? And once I started doing that, I'm like, man, I have a lot of information, and that's what that turned into. It literally turned into a book. So it was really cool to see it all come together and just be able to have some of those stories in there. So when I did my book launch, and this is from 2017 when I wrote it, I had some of people that I would maybe read excerpts, and they're like, that was the conversation we had. Like, yeah, it was some pieces of it, but you know, that's again how valuable your clients can be if you take full advantage of having, them in your chair, not just for the cut. They are a part of your life. You're a part of their lifestyle too. And once you started seeing your true value, then you start operating a little bit different. So hopefully that answered your question, gave you a little perspective on, how I did get past that. And I think another thing too is when I had my first kid. That was something that really changed everything for me. I know you're saying you don't have kids, but that was like, I cannot be behind the chair all day, missing out on time with her, with time with my family. And then even outside of that, I just looked at it like, man, I can't do this forever. Like this is not, it's not practical for me to do this for another 20 years, working all these hours every day, day in, day out. And for me to be able to actually have a successful life. It's so much business that goes on outside of your shop, but when you're in it, that's the only business that you're really worried about. So a lot of the value and a lot of the stuff that you could possibly be benefiting from happens while you're at work and you're talking to these people, and it's great, but there's so many other connections you could be making, especially when it comes to like networking with other businesses and other barbers essentially. Like, I think the question at that time when people were wondering why I was going to talk to other barbers or going to conferences was well, you're not cutting the barber's hair, so why are you going to talk to other barbers? But what happens is you build relationships. Now barbers are sending you clients from their area. We're in Atlanta. We're in a hotbed. You know what I'm saying? There's people that travel from all over. So I was getting clients from Florida, North Carolina, Chicago, LA, New York, because they're like, man, I got a client that's coming to Atlanta for the weekend. He's looking for a barber. You got some openings? Absolutely, I do. And then the type of barber I was connecting with, they were high value barbers, so they're charging too. So I'm getting a quality client that anytime they come to Atlanta, now they're coming to me. So it's dope to be able to really use the network of barbers the right way instead of making it more of a competition. Because that's something too that a lot of barbers do. They compete and they're, oh, that barber don't know how to cut. That fade's not even clean. They're worried about the wrong stuff. I'm worried about collaboration versus competition. That's how I look at it. Like even me coming here, I could have been like, bro, I'm not trying to come and, what am I come talk to your class for? I got my own stuff that I'm doing. I do my own education. But I know the value and the importance of being able to share information amongst each other and also building a relationship. Because you never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know what it might turn into. Hell, we ran into each other at
the Mission Community Center.
This was 7 years ago.
2014, which is ironic because you said you finished in 2012.
Yes.
I finished in 2012 too.
Yes.
I just moved back in 2014.
Yeah.
And then we ended up at the Mission Center with another great barber. She calls herself the Barber
The
Doll.
Barber Doll.
She was hosting these community events, giving back to the needy, and we ran into each other there. I'm just starting. I mean,
That's 10 years ago. Dang.
I remember what was it, blue Camaro you had? Or
The Mustang, blue Mustang. Yep.
I remember blue Mustang. I remember exchanging information with him.
Yeah.
And just like over the years, just looking back on Instagram, like, dang, Israel keep popping up. He keep popping up. He keep popping up. I saw when you opened your first grooming room. Like I saw when you was doing all of that. I'm like, we were in the same place at the same time. It just lets you know the different, like you said, the different trajectories you can go on in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
He took the route of entrepreneurship and books and products. I went into the education side of it because just like him, I realized early, I'm not doing this for 20, 30 years standing behind this chair.
Yep.
Because I don't know about you, but I got burnt out. I got tired of that cycle.
Definitely.
I got tired of doing temp fades. I got tired of sponging people's
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Definitely.
And then with me, the reason I left Florida is because people were coming out of school
Mm-hmm.
and they weren't getting the information.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't getting what they needed when they came out of school. I was like, how could I help that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then that's why I reach out to people. You're not the first person I reached out to. You're probably one of the 3 or 4 that actually reached back out to me and actually came through.
Yeah.
Because like you said, people in this industry, for whatever reason, are very, very selfish with information. When you can do so much more to help the team around you. Like, I've been in plenty of barbershops in Atlanta, and the one that I found home is in Kirkwood. It's been there for 55 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I fit in is because everybody in there is over the age of 40.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's a false narrative around the competition when it's like we're always better together. You know what I'm saying? You could always do more, go further and faster with each other versus trying to do it by yourself. So I've always
Sorry, so you're talking about you've been in this industry for 100 years or something?
no.
I know you've been in this industry.
Absolutely not.
You're
Feels like it.
I've been in the industry for a decade, so it's actually 11 years. So 2012 was when I first came out here and went to barber school. So I didn't finish barber school in 2012. I was finished in 14, but that's when I originally came out here. So I've been licensed since 2014.
So when do you put your business? In between that, did you put your barber shop?
Yeah. I opened a shop in 2019, but I was working in suites, and I also worked in a shop prior to that. Yeah. So even while I was in school, I was working at a barber shop, A1 Cuts in Snellville. Yep. I worked there for a minute. What's up?
Did you know Kaya Lyles? Because I think she worked at a similar. Well, I think she worked in a shop down the street.
Oh, okay, possibly.
It was called Classy Cuts, I believe.
Classic Cut sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
She had a student in there.
In A1?
Yeah.
Okay.
D Nice.
D Nice. Oh yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my man. Yeah, we worked right across from each other for about a year and a half.
He came out a few years ago and gave a cut.
Yep.
Demo.
That's what's up. Yeah, D is
Small
good
world,
people.
bro.
That's how it works. See, when you working with the same, energy and you actually are connecting with people, it's such a small industry. But if you seclude yourself, even working in the suite, sometimes you get a bad rep for like, oh, you're trying to seclude yourself. You don't want to be around other barbers, but sometimes it's an opportunity just for you to focus on your client and still do outside things. It's almost like going to a private school. You know what I'm saying? You can still always do outside extracurricular activities or being homeschooled. You can still be in soccer or be in this or be in that or different things, but sometimes you need your own space just to create the energy, the vibe, the type of experience that you want for your client if you aren't able to actually do it. Now, what I will say is, coming out of school, I would always advise trying to find a good shop that you can go into so that you can build the reps, the rapport, get the experience, get the different type of just the things that go on in a shop sometimes are good for you to be able to interact with other people's clients, to be able to understand customer service, to be able to, clean up after yourself, clean up after other barbers. All that is valuable, because when you go into having your own, it is just that, it's your own. So you can't take off. You can't miss a beat. You can't miss a payment. You can't, because all that is a reflection of you and your business. So starting off in the shop is always good because it's almost like the training wheels, so you can see, dang, okay, well, I, left early, but the shop owner stayed 3 hours after I did. Or, when I got here, I thought I was going to be the first person here. And, the owner was here. They had already cleaned up, sweeped up. They had folded all the towels. That is very valuable. It's a very important part of understanding how the business of barbering goes. So are y'all, go ahead.
Along the lines of starting in a barbershop.
Yes.
I know you said while you were in school, you were working in a shop.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably kind of hard to do, but
Yes.
if you could, say, take that part of working in the shop out of it, when you graduated school, do you feel like they prepared you sufficiently enough to make a living as a barber?
No.
Or did you learn that in the shop?
I learned a lot of it in the shop. Like I said, I was blessed to get into a shop that was an actual community, family oriented. Every shop is not like that. So it's really up for you to vet the different shops that you go to. It's the same way where you're going trying to get a job. They're also, it's an exchange because you're going to be paying them. So you need to feel good about paying them instead of it being a situation where you're hoping that they're going to accept you into what they're doing. You're an independent contractor. So you want to make sure that the place that you are in is conducive to the experience that you want to offer your clients. Your clients have to feel good about paying you their money. They don't need to be walking in and it's somebody shooting outside, somebody smoking a blunt in the front, somebody in the back shooting dice. That'll take away from the whole experience if you're trying to offer more than just a cut, or if you're just trying to offer somebody a good quality experience. And that is a part of it too, not just the service that you provide in the chair. When they go from outside to your chair to back to their car and home, how was that full experience? Did they get welcomed? Did somebody actually acknowledge them when they walked in the door? Did they get a shampoo? Did they get good quality products? Did they get a warm welcome? Or did they get, hey, we'll see you next time? All that matters. That's a part of the experience. So think about these things too when you're in certain shops, because people can, get ran off, or you can lose clients by being in the wrong shop. You know, so I know that's a thing that you might be thinking of or not thinking of, but think about it because it makes a big difference in your business. And then when you're wondering like, man, why are people not wanting to come sit in my chair? Well, maybe because the barber next to you curses too much. Or maybe because the barber on the other side of you is always late. And I hear his clients complaining about, you know, why, man, I'm about to start going to him because it just causes so much friction. But make sure that you're just looking at these little things because they matter. I promise you. I've owned a shop and I've worked in shops to where you might not think about certain stuff that's important. You know, is everybody pretty punctual? Are y'all pretty punctual? Would you say? If you are not, that will kill your business. I'm telling you, it will kill your business. It's one of the biggest things that people downplay or act like it's not important because they have a skill set or a talent. If you are not a punctual barber, that is a very, very big stigma that people and clients have about barbers. They're always late. They're always late. They're unprofessional. They miss their appointment times. I was waiting in the shop for 3 hours to get a haircut. I showed up and had an appointment and he told me he had 3 people ahead of me. That will kill your business. It'll kill it. And these are things, again, that are small, but when you think about it as a client, damn, okay, I've gone to get I had a hair appointment and, you know, the stylist or the cosmetologist took 2 extra hours, or I was sitting under the dryer letting my hair dry and she took 2 more people, or the barber, man, okay, I was supposed to get here at 1. I got here at 12:55 and he told me he got 2 heads and somebody paid an extra $100 to skip the line. Now I'm waiting for 3 extra hours. All these things are real things. I'm not making none of it up. I'm not saying it could happen. It does happen. So just be cautious, mindful, think about it, put some of this stuff into your business and make sure that you're not that barber that's like, oh, yeah, make sure you're not that barber that's, downplaying some of these things that your clients could complain about or feel like, man, okay, I'm gonna just go find somebody else. I had a client today. He called me and said, I'm about to start driving from Alabama to come and see you because I am so over my barber. Like, that's how sick of barbers or stylists or cosmetologists that people get because of all the things that we do. He was like, he lost the quality. He used to offer the hot towel. These are something that's so small. To me, I'm like, this is a regular part of what I do. He stopped using a hot towel. He started rushing my haircut. He started being late. I'm like, dang. So my key to success is always do the opposite of what the client complains about. My barber was late. I'm not gonna be late. My barber, was always on the phone. I'm not gonna be on my phone. These are very simple things that sometimes you don't think about, but they make a big difference, especially when you're getting new clients. So like when you are getting new clients too, the consultation process is super important because it's gonna tell you everything you need to know about what to do, what not to do, what your client likes, what they hate, and it'll help you keep and secure that client. You'll realize over time, the client retention is the big thing for a lot of barbers. I talk to barbers all over the country, and a lot of them are saying they have a problem retaining clients. And a big thing is I always ask, like, okay, well, what are your conversations like? What are your clients not, like about other barbers? But also, like, what is your system? A lot of barbers don't have a system. They just gonna go cut. They gonna do whatever they want to do. But when you have structure, you got a system, you usually get way better results. So again, we're looking at this as a business, not just cutting hair. When you start looking at it like a business, you can create a system for your actual barbering clients and your people that are sitting in your chair. It changes everything. So think about, again, those little things. Trying to think, is there anything else I want to hit on? Anything that you can think of?
Going into owning a shop.
Got you. Okay,
How long
cool.
did it take to draft a business plan? How long were you in business? And what were some of the things that led you to say, well, I don't know if you still work in it or on it, or what led you to walk away from it?
Got you. So, opening up a business is a lot. I mean, there's no other way I can really explain it. It was probably, I would say, one of the hardest things I've done in my life because I started from scratch. So it was open shell. There was no it was an old barber shop that existed. I came in and revamped it. Like it was literally just an open floor model. Nothing was in there. So building it out, getting investors, getting contractors, getting interior decorators, all these things, played a big factor. It was a lot of time and a lot of money spent. And we don't even have the barbers in there yet. So once you get the barbers in there, now we're talking about training. We're talking about additional education. We're talking about customer service training. We're talking about pricing. Everybody's from different places. So somebody might want to charge 25 because that's what they're comfortable. You might have another barber that wants to charge 105 because that's what they're comfortable at. So it's a lot of different parts and pieces that go into owning a shop. What I will say is do not let anybody trick you into feeling like a shop is the ultimate goal as a barber. Because I think that's a narrative that a lot of people say, okay, well, you've been working at this shop. When are you going to open your own? You've been here for this long. When are you going to open up your own shop? And I think it's important, to figure out a different business model or figure out some type of different part of your business that you want to focus on outside of just haircutting, because you're still an entrepreneur. You do still have other things, other ventures, other interests that you might have that can make you more money. But opening up a shop is not the only way to be successful as a barber. I'll say that again. Opening up a shop is not the only way to be successful as a barber. I don't care what anybody says. We can fight outside if you want to about it. But is that serious? Because I think a lot of people create this false idea that if you don't open up your shop, you're just working for somebody else, you're not being successful. I've made the most money in my life working for somebody else, honestly. Because you got to think now, all the bills are in your name. You're paying for everything from top to bottom. Anything that gets broken, anything that needs to be fixed, anything that needs to get installed, that's out of your pocket. Hopefully the business is making money, which is cool, but a lot of times the business is making just enough to stay open. Everything else that you're making is probably going back into the business or taking care of your bills or your responsibilities. And of course, you can make more money. You can have an amazing shop with 20 people in it and you're banked, banked up. But then it's also but then you have to manage 20 people. You got to manage 20 different characters, 20 different things that they have going on. Baby mama problems, a flat tire, somebody got COVID, somebody doesn't have the booth rent. All these things are relevant. They're real. They happen. So consider that too. Starting small is fine. Working in the shop is fine. But again, just don't feel like you have to open up your own to be successful in this industry. There's so many other things that you can do. And I'm not saying don't do it. If that's what you want to do, cool. But just know you have options. The management portion of it too. Sometimes it's good to work for a company that's already existing. Great Clips, Supercuts, what's the other ones? Hammer and Nails, Roosters. There's other, companies that already, you might make $16, $17 an hour to start or work a commission. That's perfectly fine. Just for you to be able to get reps, to be able to get people in your chair, and also see how it looks from the inside out. Sometimes you want to jump straight into a shop, but you don't have enough clientele. So what's going to happen? You're going to struggle paying your bills. You're going to struggle paying your booth rent. It's okay. There's other ways that you can attack this business outside of just being, a straight booth renter. I remember when I first started, I was on commission. And I had people ask me dang, they're going to take a percentage of all your cuts, man. That's crazy. You the one cutting the hair. How they taking half your money? But I'm like, I don't have no clients. So if they're giving me clients and they're giving me a place to work, why would I not pay them a percentage? But again, it's the same thing as paying booth rent. It's just a different structure, And again, if you're talking to other barbers, they're like, man, I would never do commission, man. They're not about to take a percentage of my money. Well, what do you think they're doing if you're paying booth rent? That's a percentage of your money. It's just coming out in a different way or shape or form. So yeah, be mindful of the shops that you go into and just kind of make it make sense for you where you are. Also, make sure that the shop owner is open to helping you grow. You don't want to go into a shop where it's just like, okay, well, just cut hair, don't do nothing else. Make sure the booth rent is paid on Saturday, and we're going to see you next Tuesday because we're going to be closed on Sunday and Monday.
So you said that you opened your business in 2019?
Yes.
COVID pretty much started. How did you survive?
Whew. A lot of prayer, a lot of help. A lot of prayer, a lot of help. I had an investor, so that was huge. But you can only get so much during those times too. man, I was only open for, I'll give you a timeline. COVID happened. No, my grand opening was February 29th, which was already a leap year. It was already a little crazy. March 21st is when COVID happened. So that's when we had to shut down for like 2.5 months. So I had only been open for 2 weeks before I had to shut down after being, under construction for almost a year. Right. So, but again, at that time, they're like, okay, it's going to be 14 days, with quarantine and everything will be back to normal. So I'm thinking like, okay, cool. I need a break anyway. I've been working for the last year, like every day, day in, day out, I need a break. And then the realization of like, oh, dang, we're going to be in the house for a while. So it was so many different things I tried to take advantage of, but my business wasn't open long enough for me to take advantage of any of the PPP or any of that because I was only open for 21 days. So I didn't really have a payroll. I didn't really have any of that stuff established. So I was able to, go into my savings. I was able to send the people, the barbers that were there, some type of money over that time. Every Friday I would just send them $200, $300 because I'm like, I just want y'all to come back when we open up. Like if I can't do nothing else, I at least want to give y'all something to let you know, like when we do open back up, you got a place to come to. So that helped. But when I was talking about earlier, those relationships, man, people came out the woodworks. Like I was getting like literally packages of products that companies were sending me, and it was $5,000 worth of stuff. They're like, just sell it, put it out there. So I started doing like at-home kits for people to take care of themselves at home since they couldn't come to their barber, and people were just buying them. So I'm a hustler.
So
I'm a
when did you
hustler.
start your products? What year?
I've had my products for a while. These products just started in 2021. I've had the essential oil mix since 2019. My book I've had since 2017, and I have other products as well. But
So what was your starting annual income versus now from that time?
when I was owning, a lot more. Well, it wasn't a lot more. I'll put it like this. Like I had mentioned, you had stepped out, but you have a lot more responsibility as the owner because all your money is going back into the business. When you have, I had 6 barbers, 1 nail tech, 1 massage therapist, and 1 esthetician. So I had about 10 people employed and a receptionist and an assistant. So
Oh, so it was a shop.
Yes,
You
it was
said
a
a
shop.
suite.
yeah, so now I'm in a suite, but during that time I had a full,
Okay, it was
I
a
had a full
barber
grooming
shop.
salon. Yeah. So we did everything: manicure, pedicure, facials, massage. It was a one-stop shop for men. Yeah.
Okay, and how do you advertise that you did all those things?
Obviously, social media was a big thing. Radio. We did a billboard. Just word of mouth too, because it was kind of one of a kind. It wasn't like you see a lot of those throughout the city. So it was an easy kind of pitch for people to come and see. Like, okay, you're actually getting everything in one place. So it was cool, and it was dope. It was a great idea. I think the timing was just very pivotal. It was one of them things that's like, man, we pushed through the pandemic and we were able to get up and running back again, but people weren't as open to coming into a shop as they used to be. So we just had to kind of take it for what it was. Now, that wasn't even the reason why I stepped away from it. It was more so property management. So another question that you asked about owning a shop, understand that when you're getting into a lease, when you're getting into, a new property or whatever the case may be, whether you're buying it or whether you're leasing it, the property manager plays a big, big part in your success. So when I originally signed my lease, it was for 5 years, and we were under the assumption they were going to help us with marketing, they were going to do all these great things that they promised they were going to do, and then after year 3, they ended up selling. So I sold to another property management group. So bigger, more properties, we just became a number versus it being like, okay, I can call this person, they're gonna answer the phone. It's like, okay, we gotta go through an automated system, reach them, they'll set up a call with us on next Tuesday. Like that's kind of how it ended up going. So I was in a position where it's like, okay, do I stay here and try to fight through it and try to modify my business, which we were kind of at the point where we're like, okay, well maybe we'll start doing more suites, because we had salons, we had suites inside of my shop, because again, we had an esthetician, we had a massage therapist, so we had to have rooms already. But we were gonna add about 10 more. So they were trying to make us do a whole new blueprint and submit everything. And blueprints are not cheap. They're like $4,000 or $5,000 if you get them done right. So all that, and I'm like, no, I'm not about to pay all that money. We already have them built. We're just gonna build more. And they just weren't willing to do it unless I signed another 5-year lease. And I'm like, I'm not about to be here for 10 years. That's just not even, it's not worth it to me. You know what I'm saying? It's not worth it to me. So stepping away wasn't a hard decision. And that's the thing too, like, don't look at things like that. Like, some people be like, oh, you know, you had to close your shop. Like, I didn't have to close it, but it made more sense for me to do so. One of my mentors always told me, sometimes you gotta cut off a finger to save your hand. And I wasn't gonna go down with that opportunity or that business because I was so like, oh, no, this is my first business, I gotta stay. Forget that. You move on to the next thing, you pivot, and you keep pushing harder than you did before. And when you asked about the money, I mean, we were making probably like, I wanna say 50 to 60,000 a month with that business. But it just, as we started changing it and certain things started happening, it was like, okay, we need to figure out, is this really what we want to do? Because it's great to make the money, but you gotta think, you gotta pay people, you got this going on, you trying to upkeep. Operational costs themselves are crazy. My rent was like $5,700. I think it was like $5,700 for the space. That was without anything. No lights, utilities, water, none of the day-to-day stuff. So you're spending so much money. Then it gets to a point where you're also, again, you're paying people. So you have all these different employees, you're paying for payroll taxes, you're paying for all these other things that nobody tells you about until you get in it. You're like, dang, okay, we made $50,000, but we might have spent $47,000 just on things that we had to do throughout the month. You're like, well, how could you spend that much money? Well, when you have 10 other people that you have to worry about, it's like your kids. Well, you don't have kids, but I'm sure you get the idea. Like, it's always some expense every single day. And yeah, it just became a thing where it's like, yeah, maybe I can figure something out for myself right now. And because I put all those years into that business, I felt no kind of way about walking away because I'm like, I gave it all I had. You know, I did everything I could do. So now my next venture is going to be focused on me. So that's when I was able to get a business partner and we worked on the products. Also with the bump treatments that I offer, like I was mentioning before, I was able to really, really focus on that. And that has taken a whole different, turn for itself. So now I'm at like 25 to 30K a month doing that, but it's more specialized and it's just me. So it's way different when I'm like, I don't have to do all the running around. Yes, I have certain bills I have to pay for sure, but it's like I would much rather be in that position doing it for myself right now than where I was then, because it was just nonstop stuff. Every day it was something. I mean, every day a complaint, a question, something was broken, I had to get something fixed. There's no toilet paper. It was just certain things. I'm just like, this isn't even worth it. Then you're not even talking about going back home. You still got, you got your own house that you have to take care of, and you got to make sure stuff is taken care of there first. So, yeah, that's kind of how that went. But I enjoyed it. I will say that I had a great time. It was a hell of a chapter of my life. I grew a lot. I actually, made some of the best connections during that time too. Because when you're a business owner, people just look at you different. You get a different level of respect. People, come out the woodwork, says like, man, I see what you're doing. You're like, I didn't even know you knew who I was. But it's cool, and it's definitely cool versus kind of being in your own bubble and people don't know you or they don't know anything about you. So I would say I had a good time, for sure. I think you had another question.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you got out of school, how long did it take you to do something, to start with something? Like, what was the first step that you did?
Like I said, my situation was a little different than most because I was doing stuff while I was in school. Mm-hmm. So that made it a little bit easier when I was out of school because it was like, oh, okay, well, you already have a track record of being involved and going to this show and this. So I had already built relationships. So when I got out, again, I was blessed to go into a great shop, and we were right around the corner from South Gwinnett High School, and we were the only barbershop in that area, so they flooded our place. After school, as soon as the bell rung, it was a line of people just waiting to get haircuts. So that helped us out a lot, just to get the recognition. And then also just to get the reps so that we can kind of filter out the type of people that we really wanted in there. So I'm not gonna say I was lucky. I would never say that, but I think really
It was just the moment.
putting yourself in good situations is important. Because I could have went to any shop during that time. I was, like I said, I was moving and shaking, so people were knowing who I was. But I just decided to kind of trust my gut and find a home that made sense for me. Like for me personally, that was in line with my morals, in line with what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be in my life, versus just going somewhere that might have been popular or somewhere that might have had like, oh, okay, there's a cool barber over here, I just want to go over. No, it made sense to what I wanted to do. So again, just make sure you vet the shops that you go to. Like really be intentional about those.
So with your skills, what is the level that you put yourself today's date? What level you feel that you are?
Elite. Elite, but I don't compare myself to other barbers though. That's the thing, because I don't really care about the haircutting. Like that was what I used to do. I really used to be like cutting. I know people reach out to me all the time on social media like, man, I really used to like be able to cut so good. I'm not saying they say I cut bad now, but that was my thing. I would put just fire workout. But then when I started seeing like a lot of my clients, they don't really care about the haircut. They have different issues that they really want fixed. The haircut is a bonus. You know, it's to the point where I have people that come to me now, they're like, "Damn, you cut hair too?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I also do cut hair. Like, if you look at that picture, I don't look like I cut hair."
That's the reverse of, oh, you're a barber?
Bingo. Exactly. Yeah. Like, damn,
Now
okay.
you do something else?
Yeah. Like, okay, dang, that's what's up. It's almost like I do barber on the side. But it took me a long time to get to that point. I would say that it took me almost a decade to get to the point where I could say I don't have to cut hair full time, but I'm still doing something in the industry. So that's cool too, because some people have, you know, another job that they do, and that's perfectly fine. But it's also about like, man, how many different ways can you kind of peel this thing? Because it has so many different avenues, so many different lanes, so many different things that you can tap into, not just being a hair cutter, but being in the barbering or grooming industry. So that's why I love it. I'm not gonna lie, it's opened up so many, it's allowed me to take care of my family in multiple ways. I take 2 or 3 trips a year, go out the country. I live a pretty decent life. Like I don't really want for much. So I'm not saying I won't continue to elevate, but it's just like, I never deviated from this. This was literally my only plan. Like I didn't have, once I decided I'm going to barber school, I went like, okay, I might, drive trucks on the side, or I might do this, I might do that. Like it was barbering or nothing. that was the only option I gave myself. And I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I bet on myself, and I did the work, and I wasn't afraid to take the chances that most people would have been like, nah, I'm cool, bro, I'm not trying to do all that. I was always trying to do all that. I was always like, let me see how much further I can go with this. Because I know the sky's the limit with this, the sky's too low for this, because there was so many things. I remember I was told early in my career that I would never make money unless I cut a celebrity's hair. I was like, you'll never make money as a barber. Unless you got celebrity clients. Like I had one girl tell me like all barbers sleep in their cars, like all kind of stuff. And it sounds crazy, right? But it's like, that's some people's perspective of a barber. Go ahead.
Also, being on this journey, as long as do you think they were saying those things to, I guess the phrase nowadays is the gatekeep? Do you think that's what it was?
I think it's
do you think that was just their experience?
I think it's two sides. Yep, I think it's experience and exposure, and then also I think some people will gatekeep because they don't want you to do better than them. And even in my book, it's a phrase that says some people want you to be good, but they don't want you to be too good because that'll make them feel inferior. Mm-hmm. And nobody wants to feel inferior. So it's one of the things that I realized in my career. Like I'm gonna be very selective with who I tell and what I tell. I'm gonna also make sure that I surround myself around like-minded people so that I don't feel weird for wanting to be great. And some people feel weird about it. They're like, man, I ain't trying to do too much. I don't want to make anybody feel awkward or anything. I don't care. I want you to sweat when you're around me because I know that I'm bringing the best out of you if I'm being the best version of me. I think that's, what does that say right there? Yes. You gotta be the best version because if not, it's like, okay, what are people gonna remember you as? It might be their last time ever beating you, but you don't want to show up and be the worst version of yourself. So it's like, why not always kind of present yourself as, okay, I'm gonna go 110%. I'd rather do too much than not enough. I'd rather go 110 than go 50, and the person looking at me like, okay, well, he's not that great. And they just walk off, and that's the last thing they remember about you. Like, I want somebody to be like, that shit was like, I need to see what he got going on because he's giving a different type of energy. So I would advise that too, like understand your position as a barber because you have so much influence over your clients. People listen to you, they trust you, they tell you if they cheat on their wife, their husband, they tell you when they got their first car, their job, that's just,
Entire life.
they tell you their whole life, you're their therapist. So take that serious because you can utilize that and take that, to another level, just being a trustworthy person to where they open up all kinds of things to you outside of this gossip. But their homes, their jobs, opportunities, different relationships and resources that they have. And like I said, even my first investor that I mentioned before was one of my clients. One of my mentors, one of my clients. Another one of my investors, one of my clients. So these are all things that I utilize as a barber, and I took it serious. They took me serious, and I've been able to grow tremendously from it. So that's where I'm at.